Ring, ring, ring. Hello, chimps and vegans.
Oh my god, I did not know that was about to happen right there, actually. Mr. Nimbo, very clever indeed, my friend. Oh my god. What the fuck was that? I can't believe you were that's what you had in mind, my friend. Hey, by the way, no Elsa today. She's going to, I don't know, she's going and getting some fucking medical procedure done. Doesn't matter. Bitcoin dumping right now, and Bitcoin showing no more mercy to the Bula believers. And you know what? I do want to follow up on yesterday's, of course, major indicator of the day, of which you can probably already guess which way that it went, and it was right back on over here. I put out this tweet, I think this was 2 days ago. I can't fucking believe that, man. That was good, Nimbo. That was very, very good. Anyways, I put out this tweet 2 days ago showing the relevancy of the 41,550 reach right here. We spoke about it at length yesterday. And what do we have today? What do we have what do we have today? Today's tweet. And it has been met. And this is a bit of a bearish reset right there, with low volatility getting rejected exactly at the edge of the bearish control zone. Not what you want to see if you want to be good old Bula Jesus right there. Anyways, Elsa is she's actually fine. I see some cause for concern in the comment section right there. I want to let everyone know. No, everything's all good. Everything's all good. I don't know. She had like she's getting like her teeth. She's going to the dentist basically, and she couldn't make today's stream because it was the only slot that they had in the next few weeks, and we're going on a little bit of vacation in the next few weeks, or a trip, or whatever the fuck you want to call it. So I figured that, or she figured that this would be the best time for that. Anyways, holy fucking moly, man. I see an absolute metric shit ton of people in here right now. 1,500 people watching. My lord, welcome to the morning. Welcome to the morning for all the crypto zombies out there, and for all the people waking up in Eastern Europe. As I live in Helsinki, Finland myself, well, good morning to you as well. Got my coffee in hand in my nice little Krown cup, and it's serving me well this morning. I desperately need it because, well, it was a bit of a late night last night. Anyways, with all of that in mind, still can't get over that fucking intro. Nicely done, Nimbo. Nicely fucking done. Anyways, I want to say welcome to all of our lovely moderators, keeping everyone safe in Safu right now. Major thank you to you today. I see a lot of familiar faces in here right now. Crypto Zeal, Mission Control, Dad Rackets, Jack Asman. Good morning to you as well, brother. Good morning to you as well. Mr. Blind Crypto, nice name. Adam Smagmoda. that's a difficult one to be saying right there. And Adam Dunn. That's an easy, or Adam Duran. There we go. MD, what's up, dude? It's been a long time. Very, very good to see you. Mr. Strange, I recognize that name. Definitely. Philson, there he is. Indeed. Fucking love him, man. And Charles Fuchs, what's up, brother? What's up? Juvian Official. Man, it seems like everyone's back in right now. And Willis as well. What's up? What's up, my friends? Anyways, yeah, I mean, it was a pretty boring or very lackluster last pretty much month or so, and now the floodgates have opened up with some nice morning volatility for all of the non-believers right now. Anyways, I'm going to polish off a little bit more of this coffee, and then we'll get right into it. I see Johnny Button, I see Zen Bull Trading, I see Jan B, I see Brandon C. I see Forrest. I see Nikki Page. There he is. No capital. Actually, I'm going to pin that message for you, Nikki. Major thank you for that, and good morning to you as well, as always. We'll get to the super chats a little bit later. I do need to get through the opening morning ceremonies because we actually do have a lot of very important things to be speaking about today. Obviously, I want to follow up on that signal, what that means for Bitcoin, where the next potential major lows can come. But, you know, just like the last, basically month of videos here, when we're talking about major lows for Bitcoin, confirmation is fucking key. And until we actually get that, you know, it's all bula hopium. It's all bullshit. It's not bullshit, obviously. At some point, it will very likely happen unless this market quite literally is dying from here, which I don't necessarily think so. But at the end of the day, this is just another reminder why confirmation is absolutely fucking key when you are trading against the daily trend in this case. So let me just take a little bit of a sip of this, and we'll get right into it, my friends. Andrew Mo says, when Krown NFTs? Oh dear lord, man. I don't know if I can join. I don't know. At some point, if we could actually add some value to it, maybe, because I do expect that things are going that way just within the world. But I don't know, man. Right now, most of them just seem like fucking cash grabs, and well, I don't really want to posture myself with alongside that. Anyways, let's get into it right now, or should we get into it right now? I see I got a little bit more coffee here as well. I'll just read through some of the chats right now as well. I see Neil, I see Hector, I see Matador, nice name, definitely Spanish or maybe Portuguese, of which I'm actually trying to go there and maybe even check out I even checked on some property, man. 2,000 viewers. That's in what the fuck, man? Holy shit. What are you guys doing right now? It's way too early for this. It's way too fucking early for this. But hey, good morning and welcome to the cave. Good to meet you. For all the new people here, 662 likes on this video, which is insane, incredibly generous. We've like doubled it. We've 2x'd it from yesterday. Don't know how the hell that happens. Don't know what people are doing here. Look, I'm just going to talk about girthy green and red dildos of both shapes and sizes. But right now, the focus is, of course, on Bear Jesus as we get the first major break from that $40,000 major level. And well, as the good old fucking Mimi does say, it's lights out. No, it's not. I don't think it's lights out for forever. I do think that ultimately this does offer up some opportunity. And for the traders, of which, of course, this community is certainly focused on, well, you know, you don't really care if he goes up or down, just like myself, because, well, just offers up a bit of opportunity here, of course. So let me just take one more sippy sip of this. I'll leave a little bit left in the tank, and then we'll get right into the well, the analysis of the day, I suppose. Some nice gas station coffee as I get through my rush through my early morning routine. And here we go for Bitcoin. Of course, starting off with the most important thing to be aware of that we've been following up on. The two biggest things actually for continuation of this current downside move. The first one being the global open interest. Remember, we've been looking for this to come down at minimum to about 11 billion before looking for any sort of major reversals realistically alongside price action as well, which we'll get into soon enough, which of course does matter more. But this is a good indication that caution is certainly warranted, and we can still see this come down, you know, significantly more, obviously. So in the last closure, we did see about 11 and 3/4 billion right there. Of course, we go into the hourly feed right here. You can see that this is a lot more updated, and by the way, you can get all of this data for free in the link in the description below. We offer up, I believe, the most free data across all lands, and we are coming down pretty much to the low 11 billions now, 11.22 billion to be exact. And I do think that this can come down further, obviously. And I want to briefly go over why the signal is important, and then we'll get on with the old analysis right here. But basically, anytime that the open interest has been getting above 13 billion, that is 13 billion with a B, we have seen at minimum 20% corrections and at maximum, well, 50% corrections. I'll pull you back to this one from last year, of which there are several more, by the way, as well. But this one from March, we did see before Bitcoin went from about 60,000 to 50,000, very quick, might I add. And then, of course, marches it back up just a month later in April, and that did precipitate, of course, the massive dump from $65,000 all the way to $30,000 base for quite some time. Hey, what's up, Jeff Grau? Good to see. Oh, 69, my fucking man. Anyways, moving on, we did see, of course, a similar aggressive read back on over in September before the $53,000 to $40,000 jump in just about a day before setting in the next weekly high or low around that region as well. And then same thing over here at our current all-time high at $69,000 before coming down to $40,000 for that first test. And then what do you know, on that last failed rally attempt in December to $52,000, our prior range highs, which are now going to get marched down yet again. So there's kind of the, I guess, ice or the silver, or I don't know where I'm going to go with that. But basically what I'm trying to say is that that is your consolation prize. Yes, if you are looking to get bullish a little bit more sooner, I suppose. But more importantly, again, that's just going to march down the confirmation levels for that. And what do you know? We are seeing this now crater and, well, wash out a few more over-leveraged positions. At this point, though, I guess there are more longs on the board, which is fucking insane. This market is just over-leveraged to the fucking gills. But I guess it also does kind of make sense, right? Because there was a statement yesterday by the SEC chairman, Gary Gensler, who basically came out and said, look, this year we're going to be focused on crypto exchanges. And I've been saying this for a while, especially coming into 2020, where BitMEX came under scrutiny, and then I think Binance was, a big one as well, obviously into 2021, and then now we're probably going to see the wild west of cryptocurrency exchanges. And I do think in this next year to 2 years, so that means no more 100x leverage, no more bullshit like that, and you don't fucking need it to begin with, man. Look, you need 500x leverage in 4x land because it moves at not point, not one decimal place at a fucking time. Bitcoin moves thousands of dollars in a day. You don't need it, or at least I don't think that you need it. Of course, I do understand that, some people just treat it as gambling. Hey, fair enough, man. Vegas is also available too as well. And well, I mean, I guess that this is more convenient, but ultimately, understand what you're getting yourself into. These are completely unnecessary. On top of that, we will certainly see funny rates. Oh, now we're actually not going to see funny rates negative. I thought that we were, but it is actually positive on the daily. Let's go down to an hourly feed. And it's actually still positive right here as well, which is humongously concerning, to be quite honest with you. So people are longing into this dump, essentially praying, hoping to Bula Jesus that this is going to be the last of the pain. But whenever you see something like this, probably going to be a little bit more. We do want to see extremes on the red side here, representing that shorts are now getting super aggressive, which we did see earlier, of course, from the 4th of December wick low right there at $40,000, getting all the way to negative 0.05%, which is significant, similar to what we saw back on over on the May dump from 65,000 all the way to 30,000 bucks. But this is not a signature any longer that is going to have a short-term bullish interpretation. Just not fucking good. Anyways, leverage ratio over here as well continues to go to the moon. If this is the one chart I wish could long, can't fucking long it, and well, that just kind of tells you where we're at within the context of this market. So I want to follow up on yesterday's major topic of the day. The major topic of the day was this signal over here. We were saying, hey, look, Bitcoin BULAs do have a chance, as they always do, but until Bitcoin actually takes out the last prior rejective high, which was $44,000, or just above $44,000 or so, it's all hopium. It's only short-term, medium-term time frame moves, even more or less short-term time frame moves, and it means nothing for the general trend, for a general reversal. And we also highlighted yesterday to reference, of course, that tweet that I put out 2 days ago, that if Bitcoin does close below 41,500 was the natural number, if we just go back very briefly over here, then that would force daily stochastic momentum to the downside in a low volatility environment, of course, with DMI already showing negative right there. So ultimately I want to follow up on this because this is obviously important going onwards and forwards. You can see how all of these things kind of work with each other, and while it does take a bit of patience, that was a humongous opportunity coming into today, of which we do see like another, I don't know, is like 5 to 10% move or so, and I don't think that is done either. Now when you see something like this where it's getting rejected right at the edge of the bearish control zone, that is a bearish reset for what it's worth, especially on low volatility. And again, the DMI already there as well. And I should probably let you know you can find this indicator in the Krown trading application as well. In the good old store right there, as the creator has decided he wants to sell it. So fair enough. I'm happy to sell things that I actually use. And this one, as you can see, I quite like it today on days like today. So let's go into the charts over here. Let's go over to the chart that we were working on yesterday. And again, what was the big bad area to be aware of? There was a little bit of hopium right here for a bit of a higher low in the very, very short term time frames, which we did get. And there actually was the move that played out from that, to be fair. So to give the BULAs their due diligence, they did get that move right there, which was beautiful. I mean, that was about $1,000, a little bit more than $1,000 move from breakout to next high, just right in line with your last prior rejective highs, by the way, and well below, of course, your range highs, which we're gonna have to march down yet again, in fact, now. But hey, fair enough. That's your consolation prize if you want to be bullish, I suppose. That's gonna be marched down to yesterday's rejective high right here. But for right now, what was our major area yesterday for confirming not just momentum turning down, but also, well, essentially just, I guess in this case, a bull trap, was coming back down below 41,600. So these markets move fucking fast. They are unforgiving, of course. And ultimately, I want to be highlighting these things, not because I'm a fan of hindsight analysis. No, I want to be following up for the people who are joining in here, who have not been here for the past few days, because you can use this information in the future to, at the very least, protect yourself. And, if you are a trader, then, well, you can potentially even use it to, what's it called? To give yourself a few gains. Ain't too bad right there. Anyways, I do want to call this out because we did identify that CME also had hidden bearish divergence right here, of which we can pull it out. And actually there's another drive that's going to populate with today's closure, which is not great. And on top of that, we do see, I believe, yes, the daily Joule signal as well, getting downside officially confirmed as of the 19th. So that was 2 days ago. I actually missed calling this one out yesterday. I should have done that yesterday. I completely fucking whiffed on this one. We were speaking about it as potential the day before. I missed this one. This one's my bad because, well, this would have made it a lot more of an easy call for for an overall breakdown. But ultimately, at the end of the day, the trend is your friend, and the trend ain't reversing anytime soon. Now we can march these levels down for a potential reversal, for the very first hint of a major reversal. Not any longer to let me go back to this chart right here. Not any longer at the $52,000 level that we had before. This guy right here. Prior range highs, we can now move it down towards about $44,000 right there. Basically, where we got that last little wick rejection from yesterday's top. And so, if Bitcoin does start to close daily diligence above there, that's going to be the first sort of potential inklings that we are going to be seeing a bit of a reversal. Until then, it is all hopium. It is all more or less downside, more likely. And now we should talk about where are the likely targets for something like this. Where are things likely to, at the very least, give Bitcoin a nice big old boolah bounce right there. there, and perhaps even, or very likely, a tradable bounce, to be quite honest with you. And where would that be? Well, we kind of already hit one of them, that being the $38,000 level, which was a target with the, upon confirmation of that daily stochastic signal, plus a breakdown in levels as well, which were, one and the same, basically. Kind of beautiful when both those things match up with each other. As I adjust my glasses, by the way, for the people asking, they're not like corrective glasses, they're just blue light glasses. I actually got laser surgery earlier this year, and it was quite nice, although my left eye not perfect yet, so maybe I need to go back and do that. But man, if you look at the fucking videos of what they do and how they cut up in your eyes, I don't know if I could do it again, man, because you're awake during that whole damn time, and you see it, you see the damn knife coming towards your eyes. I didn't know that was gonna happen. I was like, what the fuck are you doing, man? Get that knife away from my eye, sir, and can take this fucking laser dildo off my face as well. That would be great. Anyways, it was worth it though, but my lord, man, scary as all hell, and I guess I'll have to do it again. All right. Anyways, so yes, we're going to talk about now targets to the downside, where to kind of expect at least a bit of a bounce behavior, and potentially even the next major low. Which again, going back to the prior conversation, we've been speaking about a potential major low basically since the $40,000 level was tested in early December. Understand that. Please understand that we cannot confirm a reversal until we get at minimum that daily closure above the last prior rejective high, and that's a fucking minimum condition right there. And what I'm going to balance this out with is this is now a long-term bearish setup, actually, to be quite frank. So we'll talk about that soon enough. Anyways, so in this case right here, where are we coming down to? Or let me just get rid of this. We can just do a nice little blue box of peace and prosperity. Nice little liquidity zone coming in from, I guess I already have it in there. I guess, nice. We already have it in there right now. Anyways, I guess the hopium, and this is really like, this is just pure fucking hopium. And I'm going to tell you why I don't think that this is very likely. But the hopium is that you got a falling pizza in play right here, which is a bullish reversal formation. Now, to be fair, it is actually in there. And you do have the right volume signature on this. You do see it tailing off from left to right, which is what you want to see, as it does suggest that you're shaking out the sellers essentially. But again, how would you confirm this as an actual reversal in the context of this price action? It doesn't even matter about the formation. Again, 44,000, or it's more like 44,200 right here on a daily closure, nothing less. And then yes, there is a bit of a technical target to be made off of this. It's going to be something like this. I'm not going to do it exact, but it'd be something like this from that price point, which we pointed up towards about $54,000 to $55,000. Problem with that is, at least on this one right here, is that we already do have a weekly lower low, which is a problem because, well, the weekly trend for Bitcoin has been essentially your friend for the macro direction since the eternity of time, essentially. That has essentially judged all of your macro bull and bear markets whenever you got a weekly reversal. Now, you'll notice here that whilst we do have a lower low, we do not have a lower high just yet. So at some point, we will be expecting a Bitcoin weekly bounce, and that weekly bounce, well, if it comes anywhere between the 0.5 and the 618 right here, very similar to over the summer, that would be your next very likely lower high area if you are going to be super, super bearish. So yes, I do think, to kind of wrap up my thoughts here, I do think that Bitcoin is going to set up for a bounce, sometime within the next month or so, maybe 2 months, maybe around end of Q1 of 2022. And then at this point right here, I'd just be looking for, I would be on the lookout for any sort of weakness. And if you see anything like this, anything at all, whoops, not like that, but like this, where it pops up, it does a little bit of that, shows some weakness, and then comes back down, especially below about $45,000. Well, that's going to be your next lower high. And of course, you already have your lower low right now. So lower low, lower high, you have a full on confirmed downtrend, and we can start to talk about bigger and much better targets, much lower. But for right now, I also want to talk about the next sort of area that I'd be looking at, especially in like a full on just flush that we might even see this week. And let me go over here to this chart. We've been hey, damn it, stop that. Anyways, I'm going to get rid of this, and we'll just talk about this right here. Let me put on log scale as well. And this is something that I brought up at the end of Q3 of 2021 as a big thing, something that actually has a 100% hit rate, in the sense that anytime that we've seen a quarterly reversal, that is a 3-month reversal, we have always, or Bitcoin has always back tested that quarterly open for the reversal dildo. And in this case, where would that quarterly open be? That would be right here, coming in from your closure in September, which was an opening price of just above $35,000. So I do think that it's very relevant to be looking at, price action somewhere around there. Doesn't need to be exact, but anywhere around there does look good to me. And of course, that would be coinciding very, very likely with CME gap coming in from, of course, the July bear trap right here between about 34 and 35,000 bucks. And keep in mind that CME does have a natural discount over spot price action right now to reflect, well, people are, more bearish for the long term right now, of course. There is one other thing as well, which I will get into, which is more on the hopium side, but understand just because it is on the hopium side does not mean that we can't get a wick down around those regions. It has to do exactly with closures, but let me find it over here. It's on my fundamental chart, and this is going to be what I'm going to leave you with on this, and then we'll get into the comment section. But basically, if we go over here to the to my fundamental chart, I'll just briefly run through this. I know the people who've been here for a long time, they already know this, but basically, holy shit, man, we have 1,000 likes on this video. That's amazing, man. Wow. Thank you. That's incredible. Anyways, wow, my God. We do see that this hash ribbons indicator right here, a kind of more fundamental indicator representing the miners in this space, has been very consistent with this blue buy signal on this indicator, which basically does imply, or at least the statistical interpretation that I've kind of studied on this one, is that anytime that we've seen a blue buy signal on this indicator, the daily low prior to that blue buy signal was the major low before never closing below there ever again. All 18 of those iterations have worked out except for one. The one being March 2020, actually precipitating the flu dump. But I'll just briefly go over this for you right now, just a few iterations. Then we'll talk about the relevancy for price action currently and where that would kind of suggest on a major low. And first and foremost, we have the second to last one right here, which is coming in from December 2nd. Where's the daily low prior to that? That would be right here at about $17,000. Yes, Bitcoin does come back down and test it around it. You can even get wicks below it. We've seen that several times in the past, but no closures below it before ever, just kind of zooms off up into the right after that, obviously. Of course, we have another example right here from July 12th of 2020. Where's your daily low prior to that blue buy signature? That would be right here in June 27th. And of course, Bitcoin tests it, a few more times with the wick. That's completely fine. No closures below it and up into the right after that. Same thing over here coming after the flu dump from April 24th in the year 2020. Again, where's your daily low prior to this one? That would be right around here essentially, or actually right here at about 68.55. And of course, Bitcoin's never closed below there ever again. Again, you can get wicks below, but where's the one iteration where this did not work out? It's right fucking here, baby. It's right fucking here, December 27th of the year 2019. Your daily low prior to that is right here. Obviously, the flu dump took it well below on a closing basis, and you might say that that's a bit of an outlier in the context of 18 separate signals that have worked out in that fashion, which was, in combination with what's it called? A black swan event, right? And could we get another black swan event over here? Yeah, absolutely. But for right now, where was the last blue buy signal on the hash ribbons indicator? Well, it was right here, actually, something that we were very loud about on this channel in August 7th, calling for, much higher price action after that. Where's your daily low prior to that? That would be about 37,500 or so, or let's just say 37,000 bucks, easier to say right there. And as you can see, that would imply that Bitcoin would not close below that region. That does not mean that Bitcoin can't get some wicks down below there. In fact, I think the most confidence-inducing thing for myself right now, if I wanted to take a long-term long position, which I look, like, you make your decisions for yourself. Obviously, you are a rational human adult, hopefully, and you are capable of doing such. But basically, I'd love to actually see something like this, where Bitcoin gets a quick wick down to like 35. Okay, that's a little bit too low. Maybe just 35,000, something like this, and then bounces the day to end it back above 37,000 or so. If I see something like that, no closures below, just a wick below, that would be amazing, and I would feel a lot more confident with potentially holding some long-term longs. Until then, I'm just a short-term trader as usual. I'm just a short-term trader looking for short-term trades. I'm a short-term trade. And there you have it, the Island Boys song of the day. Anyways, that fucking rhymes too, so it's even better. So let's go back on over here and let's wrap this bitch up. What would make me basically look for much lower? Well, a closure below that region. There you go. No more short-term. I'm a short-term short. And it's wrecked and it's off. No, I'd basically be looking for a $30,000 low and a big bounce right there. Do I think that things could go lower over time? Yeah, of course. I mean, that's always possible, right? But when you're talking about probabilities and thinking in terms of like steps within the market and just timing these sorts of things, we're very, very likely to get a major bounce before then, as this has been pretty damn wrecked the whole way down. I mean, has been pretty unforgiving. Just one decent sized bounce, I'd say, right here off of the $40,000 level all the way up to $52,000. Well, that was obviously a failure, and we get marched on further and further south. Now, I feel like I'm missing something over here. Yep, we already spoke about the hidden bearish divergence. Maybe we go down to the lower term timeframes and then send this one off. But let's go over here to this chart right now. And what do we see? We are very likely to see, short-term bounces along the way. And, what would actually, what would, if this happened today, which this is pure fucking hopium right now, what would, if this happened today, make me immediately say, hey, dump over and it's time to pump my boolah Jesus, at least for the short term? Well, going back to this indicator over here, same thing as before. If Bitcoin were to pop back up, close the daily above 40,800 by end of day, 7 p.m. Eastern time, or 0.00 UTC, that would probably do it for me. I don't think that's what's happening right here, but that would, look okay. Anyways, lower term time frame momentum oscillators, are we more likely to see some more drives down before a little bit of a pity bounce? 4-hour stochastic momentum says go fuck yourself, getting rejected from the from not the bearish but the bullish control zone in this case, and is nose diving below 41,600. That's not great. Bi-hourly is showing what? Is showing downside as long as it's below 39,500. That's really fucking good. Hourly is doing what right here? Is flippy floppy, so maybe a little bit of a short term bounce. Maybe even the 15 minute honestly during these trending moves is money honestly. And this one's actually just having a bit of a bearish reset right now as well. Again, volatility is incredibly high right now, so we will be very, 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 very likely seeing some of those quick wicks up, but I would still exercise caution. Basically, kind of very similar messages before, in the sense that if you just want to bullet down to one thing, look, the open interest. Until that one comes down, man, I just historically speaking, this has not been the best time for what it's worth. Anyways, okay, I think I'm gonna end things right there for Bitcoin. Sweet. Hopefully that was helpful, and there you go. Should also let you know, while there are a shit ton of people right here, if you, because I get messages about this all the time, and this would fucking be terrible if this actually happened to someone. But basically, there's a lot of imposters of my account on Instagram, especially, and Twitter actually a little bit as well. Please understand, my only socials are in the link in the description below. If you happen to give a fuck about them, it's all good. I mean, you probably should not care about my very uneventful and boring life for the most part. But ultimately, where am I going with this? Yeah, they are scammers, and well, look, I'm not going to ask you to trade your account or anything like that. I don't have any secret fund or anything. I'm more than happy to be trading my own account. So hopefully that is all good. Oh shit. Okay. All right. Just looking at this over here. Okay. So we're good over there. Should as always let you know about the Krown trading application. It is in the link description below. It's 100% free for right now, and then also the Jewel Lite is free right now as well, which you can find in the link description below. Just by favoriting it, and then it pops up like magic on your trading view, and it's gonna vanish like magic in a couple weeks as well. All right, so let me polish off the rest of this coffee, and we're gonna go through all of these damn chats right now. I'm gonna turn on the alerts as well. See that we got 3,600 people watching right now, which is insane. That is, I think, the most this channel's ever got in one single live stream. I want to say a massive and heartfelt welcome. Hopefully everyone's having a nice and good morning, or at least a safe morning. I understand that these times can be a little bit more tough and trying on people. Look, you do have my sympathies for that. I understand what it's like. I've certainly been in that seat before as well. But please do understand that during these times, these are the best times to realistically learn and benefit from this experience, because it will serve you in the future if you do stick around, which I understand that most people probably won't. So fair enough. All right, I've got my trusty Nimbo here. He's feeding me all the comments. This is beautiful. I think we got Josh number 1, so I'm going to go down them as best as possible. Let me just take a sip of this water now too. V says, stop that serious talk. Orange says, long. All right, well, fair enough. Everyone's free to do whatever the hell they want, right? Okay, so Josh says, namaste, what's up, man? Ethereum USD bi-weekly. Yeah, man, we haven't looked at this one in, no one's asked about this in a week. Yeah, that's not great right there. All right, here we have Ethereum versus the dollar. Mr. Josh is requesting the bi-weekly actually for Ethereum right here, and this is somewhat problematic for the long term. Now, I would say that you do have an obvious area of interest, of course, on a long-term chart like this, which again, this is a bi-weekly chart, so this is very, 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 very long term right here, which would be right here, basically kind of the area that you're basing off of right now. probably most likely to bounce off this region first, at least in the short-term timeframes before any sort of potential continuation lower. But I know where Josh wants me to go with on this one. I'm going to guess, yes, we have 1, 2, 3 drives of bearish divergence right here. Typically speaking, after 3 drives of bearish divergence, at minimum, I'm targeting the 21, which we certainly have already gotten thus far. And at maximum, I'm going to be targeting the 55, which is significantly lower in the 21 to 2200-ish region. Obviously, that's probably unlikely to happen anytime soon, and that would imply that Bitcoin works its way down at least $35,000, probably more like $30,000. In this case right here, the weekly is, well, is an issue. It's a bit of an issue as you do kind of slink below the 55 E for the first time in a very long time. Monthly, of course, as well, does have the 1, 2, 3 drives of bearish divergence as it kind of marches upwards and onwards. And again, my target there would be, yeah, basically the 21, which is much lower. So there's going to be bounces along the way, obviously. Probably in the short term, more likely to bounce around this region, to be honest with you. We do see hidden bearish divergence kind of confirming before that last major drive to the downside. I'd argue that that's very likely already played out. We see that 4-hour BBWP is getting way up there. Still obviously base off at the 100 percentile region for, a few bars before going into a bit of a contraction phase. But when I go over here to the daily, we see that it's just expanding. It's just expanding off the lows. And of course, we did also have some hidden bearish divergence right there. Daily Jewel is also showing some downside here too. So whilst I probably am looking for a bit of a short-term bounce off this region, I would not say that that bounce is the hopium bounce that I think a lot of people are looking for just yet. Just like Bitcoin, which we can now march down the target for talking about a potential long-term reversal, Ethereum would also be marched down as well. And in this case, it would be back over here at about 3,400, just above 3,400, which I'm actually going to put in a nice little blue box right there. There we go. Anywhere above there on a daily closure, and we could potentially be speaking about long-term reversals. I do want to talk about, I do want to check out, and we'll subsequently talk about momentum oscillators over here as well, of which stochastic momentum is pointed down below 3065, and volatility again very, very low from an HVP's perspective. Buy daily is doing what? Freshly crossing down. Now it's in the critical zone. I mean, I don't know how much more momentum this one really has before getting a nice big bounce, but it very likely does have at least one more try to the downside before that next potential big bounce. And then the 5-day, which I forgot to go over on Bitcoin, and apologies on that, very highly unprofessional, but hey man, the coffee, it disrupts my stomach and I desperately needed it today. The 5-day is showing downside as long as below 33.18 in this case. So I do think I do think that you're probably setting up for a short-term bounce relatively soon on your lower timeframes, below a daily essentially. But assuming that bounce fails to get above even, 3,100, let alone fucking 3,400, it's very likely to be just that, a failed bounce before the next potential long-term targets, which you are specifically asking about, the bi-weekly. Now, what would constitute a break in this case? A break of this case, thus targeting the 21 to 2300-ish region, would be, of course, a weekly closure. Basically, anywhere here anywhere below 2800, I would say, would do it for me. With looking for that next move to happen, probably over the next month to month and a half in this case. I know that the biweekly again is what you're focusing on, so you're probably looking somewhere down around here. I do think that that's a relevant region, but still. I'd go with the monthly first. It does actually hold a bit more weight in this context, and it's slightly higher, just below 2300 as that targeted region based off of the bearish divergence call. Should also notify this as well. We do see monthly Jewel pointed down, which is, I mean, I don't know how much I trust it on the monthly just yet, just because we don't really have that much data to populate this, to populate an indicator like this. But would also be pointed down as well, just for global confluence. Anyways, hopefully that was helpful. And there you go for Ethereum. Yeah, I think that's it for Ethereum, actually. All right, sweet. So I actually want to go back to Bitcoin really, really quickly here. I just want to see, because we did close a 5-day yesterday, where is the magical number here now for Bitcoin? And we do see the 5-day stochastic momentum will now flip up with any sort of a closure above 43,000 or so, which is, pretty much in line with yesterday's rejective high. So I would say that adds a bit more confluence to the $43,000 to $44,000 region, because anytime that we have seen it come this low and then flip to the upside, they have been some pretty major macro reversals, actually. I'll just quickly point out the last time that we came even this low, which let's put a nice little horizontal bar right here, was actually right here. I'm gonna mark it off. I already know which one this is, but But guess which one this is right here. It's coming in from December of 2018, and that was your macro cycle low at 3,100 before going all the way to the moon and beyond. We didn't even get this low on the flu dump, actually, to be quite, to actually pull all the way back over there. And then the times before that we saw this low was September 2014 and January 2015. We'll mark off both of these, and I'm curious to see where these ones are. I'm sure that most people already know, and we'll actually just preemptively mark, hey, stop that. That's not what I wanted to do. My apologies. But also we'll preemptively mark off this one as well from October 2011, and guess where these ones are? Let me take this off for the second as it makes it a little more difficult to see. Now this one, to be fair, was a failed bounce before going lower. This one over here was obviously the macro cycle low for 2014, 2015. Over here, again, very, very close to the macro cycle low, but technically speaking did come a little bit lower before that next major and massive reversal. So for right now, we're getting close to those regions. Still does mean that Bitcoin can see, another drive a little bit further south. We look at these things on closing bases, and then if it does flip back onto the upside, again, with any sort of a closure above 43,000 bucks, that's probably gonna be the next sort of thing in confluence with taking out that prior high. That would be now my conditions for at least looking at a major reversal in the daily, with targets up in probably the shallow to maybe even mid $50,000 territory. So hopefully that was helpful, sirs and zers. All right, man. Whoa, I am going to be way behind on chats today, so we'll try to do this as best as I can. I do have to notify everyone that Elsa is not here today. Again, if you're wondering how we do these chats, basically we do them in order of value first, in the value first, and then at the time of which they're posted. So I'll go through the highest ones first and then work our way down. I just think that that's probably the fairest way here. All right, Jeff Grau, there he is, a good old friend and OG of the Caveman. He's been here since 2018. Good to fucking see you, brother. Just here to watch the shitcoin Moon Boys get a gallon of Rhino. Congrats on almost 4 years streaming, brother. Hail Bear Jesus. Man, you know it. This channel was born in 2018, the height of a very, very nasty bear market, and Jeff Grau was certainly there. And it's just a pleasure to see you as well, man. It's a pleasure to see you here, my friend. And just no even requests. Just get on with it. All good, brother. All fucking good. Let's see who we got next. I think it's Super Googly Lee. He says, I finally got to Lothric Castle in Dark Souls 3. Man, I love that game. I'm gonna get Elden. I haven't played games in so long now, man. It's been months, but I can't wait for Elden Ring so that I can go watch other people play it instead of myself playing it. And the difficulty spike is brutal. Can we have a look at Luna BTC? So you want to look at a Bitcoin pairing right here? Yeah, we can certainly do that. Curious to see where some of the more strong holding assets are at right now. And hey, look at this chart, man. This is actually really, 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 really good. I'm gonna imagine that the US dollar pairing is probably at minimum holding sideways. And if it's putting in some rallies right here, this is a phenomenal signal for this asset. Should I record this one? Yeah. Here we have Terra Luna, symbol LUNA versus the dollar. We're actually looking at this one on the Bitcoin pairing right here. Now you will notice that there is an inverted head and shoulders as a continuation formation. Typically speaking, these are reversal formations, but in this case, and we actually have seen, in this case, we do have this as a continuation formation, and we certainly have seen that in the past, and you actually do see that, I wouldn't say often in cryptocurrency land, but it certainly does happen. Anyways, looks like I've marked off that area before. We don't really need much of that right now. What we need is two simple trend lines right here. This is the one, no, not that one, although that would be the proper placement, but I want this one. It looks more visually pleasing. That's gonna be the high side of this formation. Of course, your last higher lows coming in from where? About 17,850 or so, and right now this one's knocking on an actual major massive breakout, to be fair. Now this is a fucking ridiculous chart, to be quite honest with you, and it's a little bit hard to believe, especially coming from 2018, that something is not just not dumping with Bitcoin, but actually putting in some pretty healthy rallies right here. But hey, have to respect strength in this case. Anyways, what would be the targeted regions off of a break of the top side of this region, which is about 20,350 on a daily closure, nothing less. First targeted region I would be looking at somewhere between about 22,900 to 300 or so. Very likely a pullback there. Long term, weeks, months down the road, would I be looking for higher? Definitely possible. Just would not want to see it come back down below basically the $19,000 region that it's currently at right now. But wow, really, really impressive chart right here. Was not expecting this at all. But this is kind of a good signal, I guess, for the broad market. Perhaps we're seeing crypto go into rotations, kind of like the stock market. But in this case right here, even the short term timeframes are looking good. I'm essentially looking at all time frames trending right here, especially as long as the 4 hour time frame is above about 19,000. Below there's your first warning signal. Anywhere below about 17,800 or so is like, this is going to be a failed attempt, very likely targeting back down your lows from early January and probably lower over time if that were to happen. But hey, this is actually really impressive for what it's worth. So hopefully that was helpful. And there you go for Luna, sir. Lovely, man. Absolutely lovely. The playlist with Jeremy Ragsdale. What's up, brother? The show freaking rules. Thanks, man. Thanks for that nice positive message, man. I really appreciate that, man. I really do appreciate that. Just a nice positive message, and I salute you, man. That's fucking awesome, brother. That's fucking awesome. I'm gonna try to figure out who is next. I think we have Mr. Taher. Sorry, brother. I can't say your first name. It's a little bit too difficult for my American tongue. It's my problem, not yours. But you want to look at Atom versus USD on the 1 and 4 hour. Sure, yeah, we can do that one. This is one that we looked at yesterday, which was looking really good versus the dollar yesterday. I'm curious to see where this one's at. Yeah, it's going to be giving up some of those gains, but not, to be quite honest with you, I actually do not look at this as bad just yet. At least on a 4 hour. On a daily, looks like it probably does turn down. However, I would be looking for a confirmed break of not necessarily this level right here, but basically the low that you saw from 19th of January on a 4 hour time frame. If I see a confirmation of break with a closure below there, I would be looking for the next daily level to play out, which is all the way down to about just below $34 or so. Still among some of the more stronger charts, obviously, it is not getting hit as hard as Bitcoin, but I don't think that it is, I don't think that this one is, immune from Bitcoin's moves in this case. I wouldn't necessarily what I'm trying to say is I wouldn't be looking for a breakout to the upside whilst Bitcoin is still, in its downside throws right here. Looking at a 5-day, again, long term, I do like this one, but the question to me is, do you come down first to about $34, try for a bounce there, or is this, or do we come all the way down to like 27 to 20 to $27.50 within the next month or so, alongside a major correction in Bitcoin? I suspect that if we are going to go back down to the 4 hour time frame, as you did request, I actually would be looking at it in this term very simplistically. Basically, I'd mark off this area right here, below this area, quote unquote bad, above this area over here, quote unquote good, that being about 42 and 13 cents. With any sort of a closure above there, I'd say that this one is going to probably be one of the leaders within this market and one of the more strong ones for the next month or two to come. But for right now, I'm very hesitant myself to be looking for an opposite move of Bitcoin just yet. I imagine that the Bitcoin pair is probably doing all right, similar to what we saw in Luna, but still below this region right here, that's where I look for this one to correct much further south. So it's kind of like a major, a major sort of one for myself. To quote the good old Mimi, it's what is it? Break this level and it's lights out. Fucking hate that shit, man. I fucking hate that shit. I despise that shit. The draw line on chart shit. Oh man, you want to get me fucking going? Just talk about the drawing of the lines on goddamn charts. Anyways, I'm going to sippy sip a little bit more of this. I desperately need it right now. So much moon and sun symbology in this market. Historians are going to think we were cultists. Yeah, I mean, we're crypto cultists right now. 3,000 people watching as well in the crypto cult. I salute you all. Good morning to you, and hopefully it is going well. I think we have Mr. Andre 3005 next. He's looking at Sand USD on KuCoin. All right, let's plop this one in over here. Okay, Sand. And you're on KuDerp. Okay, well, we can just go to buy. It's going to be the same shit. And what do we have here? We have a chart in breakdown. And this one's actually not just breaking down. It is freshly breaking down below your, I'm going to guess, 4th of December wick lows. Yes, that's exactly what we have right here. Volatility is turning up on this breakdown. I'd be looking for maybe a short-term bounce, kind of where you're at right now, just relevant for very low-term timeframes. Long-term, I do think that this one is coming down significantly further, somewhere down around here. Remember, this one went to the moon and beyond in Q4 of 2021. We saw extremes here on the daily BBWP. Said it was going to correct at best for at least a few months, and that's kind of what we're getting. Now we're actually seeing another breakdown. So I do think that this one has lower to go. Again, daily jewels pointed downwards. We have nowhere, no bullish divergence potential to even be seen in the vicinity. Lower term timeframes like a 4 hour are catastrophic. I wouldn't be calling a correction over here or any sort of a hopium bear trap reversal as long as you're below about 445 in this case. Definitely one of the weaker charts that we've seen today in the more immediate timeframes. All right, sweet. Let me plop down over here. Oh, there he is, Josh again. Okay, we got Luna USD. Okay, so you want to look at the dollar pairing now. We can definitely do that. Actually, I should have done that with the Bitcoin pairing. Yeah, holding sideways. I mean, that's a win in and of itself on a day like today. Anyways, let's see. Let me completely redo this chart just for the daily as you did request. All right, so we're looking at highs on your current range about 87 and 67. You got rising bottoms here, presumably right around the $73.50 region. Obviously going to be big problems below about 68 or so. Let's see, daily jewels turning down, so give me a little bit of downside bias on this one. Let's see what the 4-hour looks like right now. 4-hour is actually more of a short-term range as well. This one is not really wanting to break down, it looks like right here. I still don't see any like obvious signals that would make me say that this one's likely to bust on through to the upside, but maybe the 5 days gonna have something for me. I actually like this chart, man. I think worse it does to the downside from here, along, assuming that Bitcoin continues as well, would be like 65.5 to $66. Obviously above 87.5, very good, very bullish. Looking for, not just a retest of like 110, but very likely new highs after that. Here's see what we're looking like over here. I'm looking for a bias on this one, but I do consider anything that goes even sideways today, or especially green, is not just relatively strong, but very impressive actually. Yeah, this is where things start to become a little bit more concerning. So daily stochastic momentum is going to be turning down today with any sort of a closure below 83 and 30 cents. Keep in mind though, this would also be considered a rejection of the bullish control zone, which is, not good. 5-day is also corrective at best, breakdown at worst, and that's kind of what it looks like right there. 4-hour time frame, nosediving. 12-hour down, but will turn up above $80.50. And hourly, what do we see on the hourly? Flippy floppy, but about to turn down below 76.25, which are actually above right now. So fair enough. I'd actually give Luna the benefit of the doubt. I do think that you probably will inevitably come down and test just below $70 or so, but I would still refrain from getting like full on bearish on this one. Something like this, anywhere down around here between like 64 and $66 or so. I'll put a nice little blue box in there, at least for a bounce. Now, if you do start to break below there, then it's lights out, bro. I fucking hate that shit. It would actually look like kind of nasty head and shoulders right here, but fair enough. This one is showing relative strength, so I'm curious if there's a narrative behind that, or if this one is just just strong. Someone knows something that I don't, which they probably do. Anyways, let's see. Patrick Kelly says, I noticed China counter trading the oscillator last night before the rally this morning. What do you mean by that? It looks like they were hiding their moves in the charts. You can't really hide your moves in the charts because everything shows up in the charts, unless if they're quite literally like manipulating TradingView itself. I don't think that's what's going on. They stole our liquidity at the crescendo of our rally, in my opinion. I think you're thinking about this in the wrong way, to be quite honest with you. No, and there's no way to know if it was like China or Americans or just fucking Antarcticans. You have no way of knowing that, man. Bots trade this market 80 to 90% of the time, and those operate in all hours of the day just because, well, they're fucking bots. They don't need to sleep. So I would strongly push back on a sentiment like that, unless if you, I don't know, have like access to exchange feeds and you quite literally know exactly who's setting in what order. I would doubt that, because that's probably illegal, and unless if you're like part of an exchange yourself. But counter trading the oscillator, the oscillator is just it's just this, man. There's no such thing as counter trading an oscillator. Like, the oscillator was a bearish reset right here. It got confirmed to the downside, so there wouldn't be really a counter trade with that. It also broke the 41,600 region, which was that hopium for the last higher low. I would strongly disagree with that, to be honest with you. But maybe you have an explanation for that, of which I'm just not getting right now. So perhaps we can talk about that. But you're like, the reason why I really despise this sort of talk, not despise you as a person, but despise this sort of talk, is because basically it's not taking responsibility for a move happening. And at the end of the day, if you're going to be a fucking trader, man, it doesn't matter who initiated what. It doesn't matter whose fault it is. At the end of the day, it is your money. And if it's your money, it's better to take responsibility yourself, because it puts you in a mindset where you'll actually be open to changing, which is the only way that you're, potentially going to get around something like that to begin with. It's like, is there a justification for losing money? It's like, well, the market was manipulated, so it wasn't my fault. It's like, okay, but it was still your money. So I guess I just disagree. Maybe I just don't understand what you're saying, but if that is kind of the, I guess the gist of it, I'm not so sure myself, man. I'm not so sure myself. Anyways, I think I'll scroll back on up over here. I think we got Mr. Murray Kerr. He says, morning Krown, good morning to you as well. Have you thought about doing comedy? No, man. I came for the day episode for the last. Well, I'm glad that you enjoy that, man. But no, I haven't thought about that, man. That would That would be quite the thing, I think. Anyways, Antara says, good morning, Krown. Can we look at LLY? I'm guessing this is a stock. Let's check this one out. Eli Lilly and Company. Okay. Let's see. I'm guessing not good on the 400 daily. I know that I'm on a weekly right here, but I do think that you really have to be looking at higher term timeframes right now. We're seeing a breakdown in market structure in most equities and cryptocurrencies. The only things that seem to be doing well right now are commodities, especially oil. In fact, I do know that there's a narrative behind that, but yeah, I'm looking for this one to come down over the next like month or two to 230 or so. If you're on a full hour, continuation to the downside after maybe one more short-term bounce. There's nothing really bullish about this chart. In the way, what the hell? Oh, I had a fib on there for some reason. God damn it, I did it again. Why do we keep on doing that? Basically, I'm looking at this area right here, that last rejected high that you saw, I think it was yesterday or the day prior. As long as you're below there, 250, I am looking for this one to have continuation of the downside. It's more likely right now. Daily showing a little bit of an area at around about just below 240. Probably be looking for a short-term bounce there. Hoping is that bounce carries you back above 250. Personally speaking, that might happen, that might not happen. I don't care. Long term, I do think that this one is coming down here. You got 1, 2, 3 drops of bearish divergence. Usually it's 3 strikes and down we go. So yeah, as always, be aware of the way the invalidation are. I mean, I think that's kind of the more, it needs to be incorporated in all these things as well. I see you, Mr. Jose Herrera. Appreciate that, brother, but feel free to have a message as well. I just want to make sure that I'm actually getting the proper ones over here. It's kind of hard to sometimes shift through them, but we're doing the best that we can today without Elsa. Although Nimbo's got it. He's got it on lock, man. Let's see. Aaron Depp says, I demand magic, Sir Dumbledore. It's times like these that we come crawling out. Imagine play to earn during the Great Depression. Going to be cool. I'm sure that's exactly what people are going to be interested in when, of course, they're poor as fuck. They want to play a game. They can play it. I mean, maybe that makes sense, but you still got to pay for your fucking electricity, huh? So I'm guessing this is a ticker here. Magic sounds super legit, so I'm expecting a really good chart today. Let's see what we got here. Well, it's a very new chart, and what the fuck is this thing? It's actually not bad. It's actually not bad right there. I was expecting something much worse. This one actually is quite bullish as long as you're above about. God damn it, I did it again. It's actually quite bullish as long as you're above that last little higher low right here, which is 6528979 butyrols, whatever the fuck that number is. I wouldn't be looking for a breakout anytime soon, but breakout would be confirmed above about 159 or just 160, whatever the fuck that number is. That's a daily, weekly. It's sloppy, doesn't really trade too much, it looks like, but full hour does look like to me it is trying to put in a higher low right here. Yeah, I would refrain from getting bearish on it, especially as long as you're above basically this region right here. Other than that, I don't really have an opinion on a chart that is this new, and it trades very sloppily here. So I'm guessing that doesn't really have too much. Yeah, I'm looking at the volume on this one. It's like 10,000, 30,000 in like a 4-hour stint, which is rather low, especially on a low dollar number like this one. Cool. All right. Mr. Bullish Knoll, morning, Krown. Good morning to you as well, sir. Good morning indeed. Mr. Andrew Moe, there he is. I like the ambience in the room today. My fucking man, indeed. When Krown NFTs, can't do it, man. Can't do it. Rose, 1-4, and daily. Okay, I'm curious to see where Rose is. This one was having a really good last week. Curious to see where this one is today, and the LARP lines worked. The damn LARP lines are at it again. Okay, so we had identified some sort of a breakdown here. I think this was maybe yesterday. Yeah, it was yesterday. We set a pullback, but I'm actually not really bearish on this chart long term. I am expecting this pullback to come down a little bit further south, maybe to the bottom end of this blue box right here at about 37.5 cents. I'd actually get rid of this one for right now. I don't think that's relevant for the time being. Let's see what a weekly looks like. I'm just curious where we at right now. Just looking at this as a back test for right now. I really would not get bearish on this one, especially as long as you're above about 31.5 cents on a higher time frame closure. Lower term time frames, I'm actually looking for bounces, very soon here in the upper 30 cent region. Kind of where you're at right now for the short term time frames. I don't know if that's relevant to you or not. I don't think that it's like done just yet. I think that you probably do like a little short term move like this and then come down officially to the bottom of the blue box, and that's where I'd be looking for on a major low. So naturally going to take some time, but there will be bounces along the way. It's actually not too bad. Hourly, do we see anything suggestive of a little bit of a short-term low going on right here? At least one more sweep of the lows at 40 cents, but yeah, starting to lose its momentum, and we do see extremes here on BBWP. So probably setting up for an little bit of a bouncy bounce relatively soon, but do not confuse bounce with a reversal. While I do think that this is one of the stronger charts that we've seen today, I don't think that it's done going down just yet, basically. So hopefully that was helpful, sir. Cool. All right. Forrest says, can't wait to hear your views. Sorry about the caps. Oops. Whoopsies. All good, man. All good. I understand. You're probably just enthusiastic, which, well, on a day like today, I can see why. Cryptogenesis TV says, how about an NFT that grants a lifetime membership? Lifetime membership to what? I don't know. Lifetime membership to what? I don't really have any. Oh, we could do like, I guess maybe for the app. At some point, I don't know, man. If like our developers are already up to their fucking eyeballs and shit, but I don't know, maybe that could be a cool thing. I'll bring up the idea with them, but I think that we have a lot of other things to get through first. What we're really going to be doing actually is we're going to be bringing the TradingView library onto the app. Now there is no time for this, by the way, just yet, like no time commitments for this just yet, but probably sometime this year, I'd guess. So you'll actually be able to basically do everything on the app is kind of what we want to have, which I'm phenomenally excited for, man. But yeah, thank you for that idea. I'll bring it up with the developers and see if that's reasonable or if that can be done. Mr. Solverian, what's up, brother? Besides 5G, this is the side effects. Whoa! You can't say the V word. We can say schmaxes, though. Mind checking GDX, daily and weekly. Okay, GDX, that's gold miners, right? Let's see. Yeah, gold miners ETF on ARCA. All right, you're looking at daily and weekly. Let's see, weekly first. I do think that this one is putting in a major low right here. We have bullish divergence. We got weekly jewel turning up around Fibonacci support, and we do see that this low is coming in on relatively declining volatility right here as well. I actually think that this one's putting in a major macro low. Now, just like anything else, it won't necessarily be confirmed until we do take out that last prior rejective high, which is $35. But this is a good setup right here, I do think. Monthly. Yeah, I like this one. Pulling back into a higher low, lower volatility on a monthly. Going to have some hidden, actually no, not going to have hidden bullish evidence right there, but overall, I do think that this one's setting up right here. I only get bearish on this one for a big bad breakdown with the daily closure below 30.50. Sorry, that's $30 and 50 cents with targets down to like $25 after that. But I don't think that's what's happening over here. I do think that this one's setting up for a long-term reversal, just like gold actually, which I should probably go check on. I'm guessing that this one's having a good day today, seeing that it is playing alongside the commodities, and it is, and it's actually above the area right now where I would confirm a long-term macro, or sorry, I wouldn't call it a long-term macro reversal, but I'd be calling another big move to the upside somewhere around your $1,900 highs. And again, I do think this is a bit more of a formality. This one's been taking its time, but this. I shouldn't say I'm quite confident to say that because hubris is the fucking killer of a trader, but looks bullish, bro. Looks pretty good to me for the long term, over this next year or two, perhaps. Consolidation on new highs is generally going to be pretty damn good. Cool. All right, let me get through. Thank you for that, bullish Noel. Appreciate that, brother. Hurricane Bully says, can you do Gala 4-hour and daily chart? Sure. Thank you for including time frames. Gala, we haven't looked at this one in, it's got to be like a few weeks now. Not good. Not fucking good, man. Oh no, it's happened again.
Oh God.
Okay. Yeah, this is what's going to happen to a lot of the meta derp coins here. I do think that this one has a little bit lower to go before you get your next sort of pity bounce, probably to the bottom end of this blue box, which is in about 20 cents, low 20 cent region. Yeah, the LARP lines ain't going to save this one, unfortunately. I do think that you are setting up for a decent bounce relatively soon, but probably comes with one more drive somewhere into the around the bottom end of this blue box, and then the real question is, does this one get back above this area right here? It's prior major breakdown. If it does, I'd say okay, likely we have the correction's over, or it's not a correction, this is fucking crash over, and we can start to talk about long-term reversals potentially. But until then, just like Bitcoin, you got lower highs the whole way through there, so a bounce up and then a lower high right there, and this one's it's lights out, man. It's fucking lights out. again, just kind of following up on this one, we saw extremes here twice on daily BBWP. We've seen several of these in Q4 of 2021, and I couldn't have told you that they were going to come down like this. I could have told, we definitely did speak about over the next few months sideways at best for a while, and then these are breaking down. So I suspect that probably the majority of these ones that don't really have any business kind of trading at these levels anyways are going to be doing a lot of this sort of action. Moving on, we have Mr. Hey, what's up, Sebastian Gwynn? Been a while, brother. T-Doc ready for reversal on weekly, monthly. Okay, let's see. Teledoc. Is that exactly? No! Is it setting up for reversal on a weekly, monthly? Not yet. We are starting to see extremes here on weekly BBWP, so we're probably gonna be looking at a big bounce relatively soon. But I do think it probably tries a little bit lower first before that. And when I say a little bit lower, probably into this order block here, somewhere around this area. So a little bit lower, like what is this? 70 to 65 area. But again, when you're looking at something like this, man, Mr. Sebastian, it's not if you're talking about a reversal, which could happen from this region, it's not going to be like this or unlikely to be like that. It's probably going to take a long time because we are talking about a weekly, monthly setup right here. So I think at best it does something like this and then trades sideways. If you see something like that and then a few higher lows over the course of like a year or two, then you can probably say that the long-term correction is over and maybe does something like that. But this is a full market breakdown right now. So kind of wrapping this one up, I do think that you're very, very close to a bounce soon. I would not call a reversal on that. Reversal for me needs to come with at least a minimum higher high and preferably both a higher high and a higher low. Or at least one of those two things at minimum, both of them for full-on confirmation. In this case, where's your last weekly lower high would be all the way at like 155. I mean, this is on log scale right now. This is the real chart. It's really, really not. This looks like a shitcoin chart, to be honest with you. And I'm guessing this is a narrative one just based off of its name. Okay, I need to turn down some of the volumes right there. Hey, what's up, World Satoshi? First time from the Midwest? Sweet. Okay, we'll get to that soon enough. I do need to get to people in order here. Again, if you're new here, we do these in order of the value of the super chat first, and then at the time at which they were given. So I just feel like that's the most fair way to do it, especially when we have limited time. And holy shit, like 3,000 people watching right now with 2,000 likes. What the actual hell? I figure that people who are here for the first time, they're probably like, why am I watching this curly-headed fuck? He sounds crazy. Fair enough, man. Fair enough. Anyways, kind of wrapping up my thoughts on this one. I do think that you're setting up for a daily bounce relatively soon, although that is not a time frame that you seem to be concerned with. But again, I do think this one's going to be spending some time going sideways at best if it does have a reversal here. So it's kind of a long way of saying I'm not looking to buy the first wick to the downside. And again, you're very, very likely going to be looking at a major bounce relatively soon. What I want to see on weekly BBWP is for that moving average to get above the BBWP itself. That's when I start to look for, at least bounces, maybe even reversals, but at least big bounces in that case. Sweet. Okay, let me scroll down here. I think that we have, whoa, that is a very small one. Mr. Anon Incorporated says FTM USD 1 4-hour and daily. Gotcha. Okay, so this is symbol FTM. This was another one of the strong ones from the last couple weeks. Here's see what this one is. Yeah, this one's going to be failing its levels, and that is unfortunate to see, but this one not immune from Bitcoin's moves. I would be looking for this one to come down somewhere around 239 to 240-ish region. I would be looking for bounces around there. That's going to be the kind of the last line of hopium in my opinion, because if you do start to see daily closures below there, basically you're gonna be in danger of losing your daily uptrend here with closure, let's call it below about 230 or so is where I start to say that. And then I'd be looking for big moves down towards 170-ish region, maybe a little bit higher than that. Still long term, I think that this is one of the better charts, but the question is long term, are you doing something like this where it's gonna put in some higher lows around here and be one long-term macro accumulation with probably a breakout around March, April region? Or is it going to try for a higher low right here, swing back around, have a really strong response alongside likely a Bitcoin response as well, and then close back above about 330? If you see something like that, that'd be really, 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 really good, obviously. But that's a little more hopium right now. As long as Bitcoin's kind of in danger here, at minimum, I'm looking for a move down just below 240. And then the question is, does it hold or not? If it doesn't, there's going to be bounce along the ways. But ultimately, I'd be looking for somewhere down around here, which is actually not necessarily 170. It's more like 180 and rising over time. But if you're specifically asking about a 4-hour, yeah, short term, probably looking for a bounce in the low 240s to upper 230s, anywhere around about 242 region. It's kind of fair game on that one. And I'm not calling any reversals in this one, as long as you're below about $3, in this case, 303 to be exact. But hopefully that was helpful, man. Anyways, we have we're all Satoshi. Now we're there. Okay, so Solana, 4-hour and daily. Yeah, I'm guessing this one's probably not having the best day either. Let's see. And what do you know? Yeah, not having the best day would be a light way to put it. Already breaking below our level from yesterday. Not fucking good right there. The LARP line's not going to be saving this one. And we do have the red line of death coming in here. So I'm looking for this one to come back down and base off somewhere around these prior major lows that you saw from September of last year. You're actually kind of getting around there as well. I mean, a lot of things are pretty much around their September lows. And probably looking for short-term bounces around these regions. So if you are on a 4-hour, I do think you're going to spike this area again, probably the low side of it, to be fair, somewhere around about $1.10 to $1.13, 14 region, and then I'd be looking for bounces. But you're starting to see volume really pour in on this one. You know, I do think it's going to do something like this in the short term, where you come down, you base, you scare the shit out of people, then give a bounce. The question is, does the bounce get above any major regions, which in this case, for a 4-hour time frame, is 132.25, just your last breakdown right here. Above there, yeah, we can start to talk about medium-term reversals, but long-term daily reversals, where's your last high? Just like Bitcoin, it ain't anytime soon. 160 or 158 to be fair right there. As long as you're below there, I'm kind of looking for this one to... well, you can probably already guess where I'm going with that, but technically speaking, daily's kind of an issue right here. Let's see. What about a weekly? I'm curious what the weekly looks like. Yeah, I do think when it's all said and done, this one's going to see down somewhere around about 110. That's the only area where I really potentially consider a major low in this case. Do I think that that's likely? I mean, you do have one nasty head and shoulders right here, and in this case, it is legitimate. And that would be pointed all the way down towards 67, so we're 60 to 70 bucks. So problems right there, man. Yeah, that might fit the bill for a parabolic blow off top. I mean, it looks okay on log scale. Not so much right here. Again, extremes here on weekly BBWP is usually going to be a signal for at minimum a long-term pullback, let's say. Hey, what's up, Mr. Jack? There he is. Matic USD 4 on daily. All right, and long term. All right, let me take a sippy sip of this, and then we'll get into it. Long dong, big cock, touch toe. Be strong, everyone. There are lows and highs. There are lows and highs. Absolutely. I mean, it's you know, it always comes down to your strategy and your outlook, right? For the people who just kind of blindly buy and they just hope that number go up, obviously this is going to be extremely painful. For the people who are trading, you probably have a plan. For the people who are long-term investing, you likely already also have a plan as well. But anyways, we'll go over and check out this one, Matic versus, Matric coin. Anyways, Binance over here. Yeah, so this one's definitely going to be coming down our level from yesterday, which was about 190. It's actually right there right now. So the question is, should I be looking for a bounce off this region or not? Let's actually record this one. Here we have Polygon symbol MATIC versus the dollar, and we have hit our target from the 2 days prior at about the 192 region. We're not really seeing any indication of bounce right now, so that is starting to make me think that this one will see lower over time. And by lower over time, I do mean somewhere in the mid 160s. That is also a weekly, no, it's actually not a weekly region right here. The weekly region is much lower than that, to be fair, at about 150 or so. But I do think that that would be a very aggressive call to be making, it, especially at this time. So short term, do I think it's ready? It's going to be set up for a bounce relatively soon. Probably yes. But just like a lot of the other charts that we looked at today, there's really not much to call in terms of reversal in the same case as what we saw yesterday. In fact, we saw that bounce yesterday, bring it right to the area, right to the fucking area on a closing basis, like literally to the T actually right there. But did not close above 118.5 or 119. And in this case, just another lower high. So as long as you're below there, even the lower term timeframes are, just lower highs the whole way through. I wouldn't be calling any sort of reversals based upon that. So short term, if it bounces, any sort of bounce back up into the 205 to 210 region is fine, but that's likely setting up for another drive lower. So that's kind of a long way of saying as long as you're below about 218.5. I do have a hard time of being bullish on something like this. 5-day, which just closed yesterday, kind of representing more of the higher term timeframes right here. You do see a bit of a head and shoulders going on as well. And we do see another drive of regular bearish divergence confirmed, actually on the closure prior to this, or sorry, yes, on yesterday's closure. So probably I'm looking for this one to play down somewhere around about 160-ish region, give or take 5 cents from that area. And then I want to come back to that. I would not call a macro low there just yet. Obviously, that's going to, need to be encompassed by the whole market itself, but that, that could be a major area of interest right here on the daily. Stochastic momentum is nosediving below 2.25. So yeah, I do think that this one has a little bit more low side to go. 5 days nosediving as well below 266. I think that this one very likely does head a lot lower, actually. 258 for the weekly. So short term, you're probably going to see your bounces here and there. In fact, the 4-hour stochastic just turning down right now as well below 195. So maybe this one heads further south first before even a short-term time frame bounce. But if you're specifically asked about long-term, which it sounds like you are, I do think that this one will eventually see somewhere around about 160, give or take 5 cents, within the next, probably within the next month or so. That's an area where I do think you might see a major, potentially even macro low. Then again, I look at the monthly right here, and difficult chart right now, so I think I'd wait for that before speaking anything more about the very long term, and then hopefully that was helpful. And there you go for Polygon Sir. Okay, sweet. We have Mr. Cole Mortimer 50 next, says AVAX daily and weekly. Sure. We haven't looked at AVAX in a few days here as well. I'm in fear that this one's also breaking down, although that is good for my short call position, which is actually really fucking good for it, although those have been out of the money for like the last $20 now. Holy shit, man. Anyways, okay, so what time frames? Daily and weekly. Gotcha. Okay, so higher term time frames on this one. All right, so where exactly are you at right now? Well, you're below my blue box. So you did get a bit of a bounce there in the last 48 hours. Brought you all the way up to about $90 or so, or just below $90. This is a breakdown. This is a fucking breakdown, man. Volatility turning up. We do see probably a short-term bounce in the midst, maybe around about 74 to $75, which you're actually at right now. Let me just go check. Yeah, it probably does have a little bit of a short-term bounce here, but again, same thing as Bitcoin. What we're going to do is we're going to remove this area because we really only need one area to be aware of for even the short-term timeframes. I know you didn't ask about this, but for anyone else who happens to give a fuck about it, would be this area right here, 87.5, just yesterday's rejection high. As long as you're below there, I am, I'm looking for any bounce up to like low 80s to just be another lower high before continuation further south, with targets down, probably somewhere more around about mid 60s or so. Let's see what the weekly looks like, as you did request. Weekly is looking like it wants to slink on over, and the weekly would have significant targets further south, actually, but I do think that would be a little bit too premature to really call something like that. I would be expecting big bounces in the mid 60s, actually, based off the 5-day. We had 1, 2, 3 drives of bearish divergence right there. Probably has one more drive to the downside. I'm looking for a big bounce right there, maybe even a major low, but I'd want to see that one in real time. Just want to briefly check it out from this angle as well, just to see if higher term timeframes are showing a deeper correction here. And daily's pretty aggressively downside angled below about 82.70. So I don't know how much more that one really has to go down. 5 days, fucking aggressive, I would say. Weekly, equally as aggressive. 2-day is more like the daily. So I do think that you're setting up for a good bounce relatively soon, maybe after one more drive to the downside. But the very high term timeframes do suggest that this one does see lower first before any sort of a major, potentially even macro low. Sweet. All right. Anthony says 1 USD, 4-hour and daily. Sure. All right. That Harmony one right here is part of the stronger ones that we saw in the past couple weeks. And yeah, same thing as what we saw on several of these things, in the sense that, you retested around your prior highs, really good, but this one's breaking down right here. While I do think that you probably are going to see a bounce relatively soon on a 4-hour time frame, which you are asking about, actually. I mean, this maybe not yet. I really want to see extremes here before I look for like a pity bounce on 4-hour BBWP. So I do think it might have one more drive lower, somewhere around about 23 to 23.5 cents or so. At that point, I'm probably looking for a bounce, but this one is a breakdown right here of structure, and very likely does come over the next month or two, somewhere down around about low 20 cents. But yeah, short term, more around a bouncy area than not. We got 1, 2, 3 drives of bearish divergence on the weekly. Not great. Let's see, what about a monthly as well? Just curious. Yeah, not great right there, man. Not great right there. But yeah, short term, a lot more close to the bounce right here. In fact, in hourly, which I don't know if you care about or not, very likely does bounce. perhaps right around here. In fact, yeah, you're seeing extremes here on hourly BBWP. Even I got a little bit of bullish divergence, very slight drives of that. But just like Bitcoin, just like a lot of the other charts that we looked at, as long as you're below the last 30-cent lower high, I'm not even going to be calling a lower term time frame reversal. So this one could very easily bounce up short term to like 27, 28 cents. Higher term time frames though, like anything above an hourly does suggest a little bit more further south before we do see a major low on this one just yet. Again, as always, it's easy to watch Bitcoin for major direction, right? If Bitcoin is showing more downside, then probably gonna be looking for a general downside on pretty much all these assets. But there will be bounces in between. The question is, do you trade that or not? Which I can't answer for you, obviously. Anyways, okay, so we got that. Okay, just making sure that I got everything right there. All right, I'll scroll back up here and let's see. Okay, so we got that. Okay, so we got Crypto Panda next. Nice name, man. Does the downside move confirm the head and shoulders and could move down in the following months to that target? Technically speaking, yeah. Technically speaking, yes. That is what you should be looking for. But of course, patterns can fail. So that's why I mark off, areas where the bias does change. Until then, theoretically speaking, or fundamentally speaking, as a technical analyst, if that is going to be one of your sources of edge, which for me it is not, well, yeah, you should be looking for that, to be fair. Yeah. Anyways, you're asking about Atom. I think we did that. Yes. Maybe not. Let me just pull it back up on over here. Yeah, we already looked at this one, so I think we're good on that one. Sweet. Robert Johnson says Tesla daily and weekly. Sure. I'm actually curious to see where this one is. I'm guessing this one trades with the tech sector and probably going to be down. It's definitely down. Yeah, not great right there, man. I'm probably looking for this one to come down and fill the gap at about 940 to 950, which is kind of what we've been saying for a long time on this one. I don't know if I'd call further downside from there, though. I'd want to see it after that, although the monthly looks rather problematic. You are going to start to confirm 1, 2, 3 drives of bearish divergence here. If this confirms as a local high, which will be actually not had with a move down to 940. So that gets confirmed below last month's low, which is 886 or so. So at that point, I'm probably looking for big moves down to $700. It's not happening anytime soon. I mean, we're on a fucking monthly right there for the love of God. Where would I call a reversal back onto, $1,200 highs on this one? Any sort of a daily closure above 1110 in this case would look would kind of put me in that boat. But until then, I do think that there's more things suggesting downside here. All lower term timeframes downtrending, higher term timeframes starting to flip around as well. Herculano, Mr. Santos says, loop ring LRC in a good buy zone, a ZK role play. It's very low. Very low. Low. Oh, it's low. It's low. It's low. So I should just buy. Man, try telling that someone from 2018. The problem with being low is that every time you go low, you can always go lower. In this case, it's already gone 75% down. But here's the magic trick, my friend. Here's the magic trick. That's a 75% move to the downside. Probably is going to bounce relatively soon. Very likely to bounce relatively soon. In fact, a big bounce might I even add. But here's the problem. Here's the fucking problem. You can always do another 75% retracement. In this case, coming all the way down to like 40 cents, which would be your like multi-year lows and accumulation. I mean, look, man, this is a ridiculous chart right here. I know the narrative, like ZK roll, whatever. I don't even know what the fuck it means. It doesn't matter to me. I'm a chart purist for the most part. I understand that narratives do matter, and I understand that you probably have a conviction with this as an investment thesis. So maybe it's a very long-term play for you. Maybe maybe this is a good time to be DCAing into a long-term position. I can't answer you that for you. What I can say though is that at best, this one is very unlikely to be moving towards anything that you saw back in December anytime soon, even if this is the low right here. So if you are a long-term value investor, do you look at an area like this and you say, hey, it's low, so I buy? Maybe yes. That's not my game. So I'm not the best person to ask about that, but this one looks like it is in a black hole breakdown right now, and the weekly is very likely to bounce here. Very fucking likely to bounce. In fact, probably a major bounce, in fact. But look, long term, as I don't think that this one's getting above 250 anytime soon, so I don't necessarily know where you want me to go with this one, because it might be right for you to buy here. I don't know what your time horizon is. If you're thinking like 5-10 years down the road and you truly believe in this project, maybe this ain't the worst time to DCA into it, I guess. It is still a weekly uptrend for what it's worth, but I do think, and what I'd really stand by here is that long term, you're not going to see this thing get anywhere close to like $2.50-3 anytime soon. So I wouldn't say that there's a rush for me personally, but But the problem with like thinking that it's low is that it can always go lower, unfortunately. And a 10% move is always a 10% move, no matter where no matter where you start from. So again, kind of wrapping up my thoughts on this one. Yeah, I do think this one's very likely to bounce from here, but it sounds like you're very long term. I don't know if that's going to be like what you're necessarily looking for. And if this one does dump out again, like let's say Bitcoin comes down to 35 or maybe even $30,000, which I think is, still kind of far fetched from where we're at right now, to be honest with you. I'd be looking for this one to come down to like half a buck or so, before it really tries to dig in and put in like some major lows. Maybe not necessarily half a buck, but like 65 cents or so, somewhere around there. So just be aware of where you're getting yourself into. Kind of wrapping up my thoughts again. It's like, look, if you're extremely long-term, 5-10 years down the road, it probably ain't the worst time, to be honest with you. But I don't know if that's you or not. Anyways, I will scroll back on over here. Let's see. Dark in August says spell. I think we did not look at that one. We looked at magic, but well, fair enough. All right, we got spell and magic, I guess, on FTX. Okay, and the next one is sorry, man. There have been some assets that have been showing relative strength today, and that I do think will perform extremely well if and when Bitcoin does find its lows. This would not be one of them. This one's already coming down to pretty much its all-time lows from December. It has never known what a weekly uptrend is. It only goes down. Usually not going to be a fan of a chart that looks like that. I also don't really know what time frames you're going off of, but 4 hours just trend. I mean, there is nothing remotely compelling for me to call a reversal here as long as you're below 16.36 cent. As long as you're below there, I look at any bounce as just another lower high. Above there, yeah, we can start to talk about maybe a medium-term low being, or well, very likely a medium-term low being put in, and very likely a nice rally and bounce. But for right now, not one of the better actors, I'd say. Not one of the better actors, man. Anyways, let's see. I think I left off over here. Okay, we got that. Crypto Secret Circle says Matic on the 4 hour daily. Yep, we got that. Product contribution, nice. I think, yeah, we already got that one, and I think I recorded it as well, so all good. Then we got Crypto Genesis says, hey, I forgot to ask about OneUSD. Yep, we got that one, so also good. Nice. Okay, so we got those. Andre 3005 says, have we confirmed a head and shoulders on Bitcoin daily? So have we confirmed it on a Bitcoin daily? I mean, I think it's on a weekly, really, but yeah, you have. So that is active, and theoretically, or not theoretically, again, fundamentally, when you are looking at that as one of your sources of edge, again, I do not actually, but you should be looking at the most likely thing that you should be looking at until you take out the right hand shoulder. On a relevant closure. In this case, that would be like a higher term time frame. There is a technical target for this, and it is pointed all the way down just shy of $30,000. Just under $30,000, in line with what we saw from January of last year, and also over the summer as well. Would be the target for that. So yeah. Anyways, let's see. Let me make sure that I got these. Okay. We have Dan Day next says, hope all is well, Krown. Can we look at your accumulation distribution indicator? Yeah, absolutely. It's right on over here, and I'm guessing you want to look at it on the monthly. By the way, you can look at this at any time you want. This indicator is freely available on TradingView. Anyways, yeah, it's still nosediving. It's still nosediving, man. And again, like, the reason why I keep on checking in on this one is, well, you can kind of draw a little bit of, or I guess I already have it in there, a little bit of a regression on both the highs and the lows. Just around there is kind of where it starts to be interesting. But what I also thought was very interesting about this is that anytime that you have seen the slope change, which does indicate a macro shift in direction, we haven't seen, historically speaking, a test or a move to new all-time highs within, like, I think it was like an average of 4 to 6 months maybe after that. So I do think this market's going to be sideways at best between 30,000 and, like, 50 or 60,000 bucks for probably most of this year. And that's like a best case scenario, just because, I mean, obviously the worst case scenario is that Bitcoin breaks below 30,000, and then we start talking about targets of 20,000 bucks, or we start talking about Saint Anna targets, which I still think are, like, very, very far away. It's not relevant for me or appropriate for me to talk about just yet. But if you want some bear porn, I can definitely make some for you. No doubt about that. All right, let's see. I think we have Mr. Ira Brandon next. Says, did you notice your tether move was a measured head and shoulders exactly as it predicted? Lamo gave for your TA, my man. Much love, brother. Yeah, this is why I was kind of pushing back on this yesterday with the tether dominance right here. Yeah, exactly. So you're right. Like you identified a head and shoulders. Yeah, but the problem with that is that the opposite but equal application to the upside, it can very much be made, and that's why we want to be looking at the higher term timeframes. And this one, at least in my opinion, is literally freshly breaking out right here. And when I say freshly breaking out, I just mean back above this last like macro high. In this case, coming in from August of 2021, so the last September lows actually. So here is kind of the silver lining on this, or like I guess a consolation price is the right terminology, is that you do typically find your highs in this chart at around the just above 5% region, but obviously that's going to imply some more pain before not Bitcoin but tether dominance reaches there. So yeah, I'm glad you brought that one up yesterday as well. It was. I keep on omitting that from my analysis, but both that and Dixie, they're both like kind of tells, I feel like, in the last week or so. I need to take another sippy sip of this, man. My voice is starting to go. There we go. Tell Sailor, wick us down to 20,000. Yeah, I know that people like to shit on Sailor. I don't know if that's what you're doing necessarily right now, but to be fair, like he's not in any. He's probably not even remotely thinking about this, to be honest with you, because his time frame is like, I don't know, 7-10 years down the road is when some of his loans come up, and I think that this is probably going to be a blimp on the radar for him. To be fair, I mean. I love listening to him talk though, man. He's so beautiful with his language. Very well spoken, but man, he like someone like me who I'm just highly susceptible to just anything that sounds good. I'm like, man, this sounds amazing. I need to go buy some more Bitcoin anytime I listen to him. Anytime I listen to him, the same thing. Vince says Rose USD. Yep, we got that one earlier, so all good. We got Mitch Vulik who says, can you do XCAD? Yeah, this would be an interesting one to look at. We saw this one yesterday, and it was actually very good yesterday, so I'm curious to see if this one survived the Bitcoin dumbola, and I'd say it's certainly holding up relatively well, although dumping alongside Bitcoin. And did we initiate our breakout conditions? No. It'd still be the same thing here, $8.50 or $8.52 if you want to be super exact, but I do think this one's going to pull back further south before another try to the upside. And when I say pull back further south, I do mean with targets probably down to about 7.5 region. 4-hour time frame. Yeah, not a big fan of that price action right there. Probably looking somewhere between about 7.5 to 760. Long term, still one of the better actors right there, to be fair. So always have to look at those. Echo ZN says Tesla. Yep, we got that one earlier, so all good. I think that's oh nope, we have one last one, I think. Yeah, one last one for Mr. Venegas. What's up, brother? Perp 4-hour daily and weekly. Okay, all right. Last of the last, and maybe I stay on for like a few more minutes, just chit-chatting, but this would be an example of one of the stronger ones. Sorry, we're on a 4-hour right now, but you did ask about that on a 4-hour. I do think this one's getting setting up for a nice move all the way up to the 55 here at about 10 and a quarter or so. Actually, it's not bad for the short term. It's been beat up a shit ton to the downside. You're back around your all-time lows. Typically speaking, you do get pity bounces around these regions. 4-hour time frame is, it's obviously still downtrending, but I do think that you have you have a bit of a try to the upside here. The only way that I really invalidate this one is actually very simple. So these are the kind of trades that I like, not because they're guaranteed to work out, but just because it's minimal risk for a decent reward in this case, which you have an obvious risk area at about 860 in this case, and then you got your range highs right here, so anywhere around those I do kind of like, at least for a bit of a bouncy bounce, even if this one's bullish as fuck or bearish as fuck. If it starts to close above about $10, at that point I'd start to really I'd actually really start to look for this one to initiate some really big targets to the upside. Actually, $12 would be the next area, but I don't think things would stop there. I'd be looking more around about 13.5, in fact. But again, one thing before the next. Obviously, if you do break, or if you do even just trade below today's low, get ready for some new lows, my friend. And by new lows, I mean down to about just below $7 or so. Echo ZN just got he got moderated. I mean, we can still do them. It's all good. I'll stay on for like another 5-10 minutes or so, just chit chatting. Let's see. Bitcoin done, says Ankit Singh. No, I think it's done for a long time, but I don't think it's done for forever, man. It's like, you know, I've seen worse on Bitcoin, man. I think anyone who's been around since 2018, especially, has seen worse on Bitcoin. You know, for what it's worth, I mean, this is, for me as a trader, and I imagine a lot of people in this community who share these sentiments, you know, these are all just opportunities right here. This is beautiful, especially on an asset that can move thousands of dollars, you know, in like an hourly dildo and not really do all that much. I mean, that's amazing, man. I missed the update on BTC, says Abdul. Basically, well, I'll upload a video on it today. Probably upload it actually relatively soon. Do want to make sure that that gets out, because I wanted that announced to be as like straightforward as possible. Oh, the Bitcoin TA is done. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, a little bit of a different interpretation for me there. All good, man. LCID Lucid Group. What is this thing? Oh, I think I've seen this one before. Let's see, what the hell is this? Yeah, not good, man. This one's breaking down. Bearish engulfing dildo right there. Very likely coming down over the next couple weeks to about 35 and a half or so. 2,500 watching, 2.2 thousand likes. Yeah, that is insane, man. Like this, the support on this channel has just been overwhelmingly amazing, which I I still don't know how to fully, you know, I guess put it into perspective, man. It's a hell of a thing. I don't know if I'll ever really understand, man. I don't know if I'll ever really truly understand. Like that's a lot, man. That's a lot. So major thank you for that. Hey, I see Tyler here. What's well, hold on, let me scroll up. Tyler, where's Tyler? Mr. Tyler, what's up, brother? Hey, man, love you. Get Elsa some cheese grits after that dentist. They're good for your teeth. So I hear, man. They got the calcium in there, so it's good. Only Elsa's laugh will save us, not Bogdanov. I think the Bogdanov brothers got. This is a record night for likes, says Salmon. I think it might be, man. Maybe it was a record for people watching at a single time. I mean, kind of insane. It typically comes on during times of downside, which I get it. Like people, you know, they're kind of like looking for someone, or they're looking for answers. And realistically, like no one's gonna have your answers for you. Certainly not me. I can only tell you like what I do in these situations and whatnot. At the end of the day, man, the only real reason why any of this price action ever happens, the only tangible reason is there's an imbalance of buyers and sellers. You know, whatever narrative you put around there, it's like, how do you measure it? How do you decide, you know, which one matters more? It's like, oh, is it the war with Ukraine? Or no, it's actually because China did this. Or no, it's actually it's like everything comes together, right? I closed the super chats ages ago. Nikki Page has shut it down. She's locked it down. Love it. Why has Route been pumping so hard? I don't know. It sounds like an altcoin, man. Let's see. Hey, man, I do appreciate those sentiments, man. Can you get an Elsa laugh clip for the soundboard? It has to be like organic, but yeah, I can try it. A noob wants to look at Hindalco. It's a Indian thing. I guess I can just quickly look at it. I won't stay on for too much longer. This is not on TradingView. It looks like Hinda. Hindat. No, I do have it. Okay, Hind. I'm guessing it's this thing. I think maybe you might have spelt it wrong. It's actually really good. Whatever the hell that it is. It's like about 3 months long of accumulation and just breaking out right now. I'm looking for this one to come back up to its prior highs. I'll make one, says Nimbo. Nimbo's got it. What's up, Gohan's mom? Yeah, I gotta reel it back in. Looks like 27,000 is coming. I mean, it can look like anything can happen, right? But when I'm thinking in terms of probabilities, no, I want to give it a chance first in like the mid 30,000s. I mean, there could also be like the hopium for today, basically. And again, keep in mind that hopium is just hopium until confirmation is had. But the hopium for today would be Bitcoin. And I don't think that this is going to happen. I think it's incredibly low probability. But if this were to happen, that would be great. For the blue laws would be, you know, a V, not even a V bottom, but just closing the day back above about 41,000 bucks. If you see something like that, okay, you know, maybe the hopium is back on. But you know, until then, I do think 38,000 bucks or 37 to 35, 37 to 38, kind of an area where I do think some sticky price action can happen. And then definitely 35,000 is the major area that I'm really looking for. Yeah, I mean, closing back above 40,000 today, Mr. Abdul would be a good indication, of that. I would say 41,000 would be kind of my area, but until those things happen, it's the trend is your friend, right? As we do say, and just down is the name of the game. But I do suspect that Bitcoin's probably setting up for a nice good one, somewhat soonish. But I don't think that this move is done just yet. Just as an aside, whenever you see a move like this, whether it be to the upside or the downside after a multi-week long base, so a multi-week long consolidation, which is what we had over here, the first move usually begets at least one more drive of continuation, at least. Extremely high probability of that. Extremely high probability. How come you don't use the 200 EMA anymore? I will reference it sometimes, but for my current strategies, it's not relevant. I do have the 200 simple on there because I think that one always kind of begets some interest, but the 200 EMA I haven't been using recently because it's not relevant towards my current strategy. So yeah, 30,160 sounds about right. He's fine long term. He keeps saying he's not selling ever. You're talking about Sailor. Yeah, I mean he doesn't need to sell. He doesn't need to sell, and that's also like the game of holding assets long term. Is that you can basically finance them with loans, and then you're basically playing a game against like interest and then price appreciation, which you just have to beat like what, I don't know, 2 to 7% or so. Well, not just, but usually quite historically easy for Bitcoin to do. Simply Gains says current outlook on HTR. All right, well maybe we end on this one. So this is Hathor on KuCoin. Don't like it. Don't like it, man. I liked it over here. Don't like it any longer. So I liked it over here in this case. Did not hit our breakout conditions. It literally went exactly to the breakout conditions, but did not close above there. That is why confirmation is absolute king when talking about breakout trading, which I fucking hate to begin with, but fair enough. Anyways, what is this? Is that a trend line or is that no, it is a trend line. Okay. Yeah, the LARP lines ain't going to save this one either. I would be looking for bounces based off of your December lows very soon. And also kind of your last little consolidation coming in from October of last year as well before that mega run. But I would be looking for bounce around there, to be fair. But again, if Bitcoin heads lower here, which I do think there is a decent probability over the next week or two, you're probably going to see this one head further south as well. And long term, if you're, which sounds like you are very long term, based off the weekly and 3-day, like the monthly right here is not even going to populate. Even in RSI in this case, it looks like weekly's kind of wrecked here too. So, I'm probably looking for this one to come back down to your prior lows. I guess the hopium though is that you're going to see something like this, but that obviously, imply further south first. So, what is the other hopium? Like, what would, if this next thing happened, what I would essentially say that, this is a bit of a bear trap, and back talking about up and on, that would be closing back above basically your breakdown point from this week, this 122 region that I marked off. Who knows the fuck when? Who knows who the hell went or when? But that would be kind of my conjecture for that. Right now, it's a clean and clear breakdown. Mr. Veniga says, when you say soon, how soon would you say? For what exactly? I'll just stick on for just your last little comment here, and then and then hopefully I can provide some color to that, and then we'll shut this one off. Don't lose heart. It will swing high. I mean, that's, over a long enough time period, very likely yes. I don't think the market's like done or dead. Did you get a super chat from Caffeine IV? If I did, I've certainly read it. I've gotten all of them thus far. I'm just scrolling up right here to see if I've gotten one from him. Caffeine IV. No, I don't see, at least not yet. Yeah, I've just gone through all of them. No, I do not see anything from Caffeine IV. Let's see. All right. Okay. I do need to shut these off relatively soon, man. My voice is starting to hurt. So I'm, after Alonzo, that's it. I'm still waiting for Jesus. He says, where is he? For a Bitcoin potential reversal soon. I don't think it's happening anytime soon. I mean, given the current conditions, man, I would say probably more like end of February, early March at like the soonest. Or like if you're talking about new highs or something like that, I don't exactly know. I'm basically looking for a test down to the monthly 21, bounce up, and then I'm guessing you're talking about like a long-term weekly reversal. At that point, I still think it would take like a month from that time at minimum, maybe a little bit longer than that. We'll get okay. So I see that Nimbo has it as well. All right, so we'll get to Alonzo and then Nimbo. Could this run be like a massive bull trap if Bitcoin doesn't hit blow off tops? No, I think the whole obsession with blow off tops is completely misguided, to be honest with you. I know that you're probably getting that from like other YouTubers and whatnot, and I've been pretty adamant in saying that I don't think that you're going to see blow off tops any longer in Bitcoin, or unless if you don't consider this a blow off top, which I'm guessing you probably don't. It's more like a rounded top long term. But the reason why I don't think blow off tops will happen realistically again is, you just have too many institutional investors in this game now with a Bitcoin ETF, both futures and of course CME, and a lot of big players in this game. They're going to do what's called value buying and value selling. So it's why I think that you're both, one, not going to see these humongous rips to the upside, because you're going to see them taking profit every few percentage move to the upside, because that's just what they're going to do. Hey man, I really can't do anymore, Mr. Star Wars World. I really can't do anymore. Hey, what's up, G man? Good to see you, brother. Else is actually not in the house right now. And into the downside, you're going to see what's called value buying. So when something comes down like 50% or even like 20%, you're just going to see those funds buy because they're just looking at it as like a long-term value play essentially. Anyways, I missed it, but can you do my super chat for algo? Sure. So this is for caffeine IV. All right, so this is the last of the last ones for algo. Here to see where this one is. I'm guessing this one just absolutely got wrecked. Yep, that would be an absolute wreckage right there. I'm probably looking for bounces soon at around $1 or so. Kind of already there, to be fair, like 109. What's another 9 cents? What's another 9 cents? But yeah, I do think this one is setting up for a decent bounce relatively soon, as are most things, but just a little bit lower first. Probably somewhere around their monthly 21s, to be fair. 4 hours, just a melt. Just a melt. Still, I want to see extremes here. I want to see this turn down, or sorry, I am seeing this one turn down alongside of it. Short term on hourlies, you're probably gonna be looking for bounces relatively soon, but any bounce that fails to get back above basically yesterday's lower highs, just it's just another continuation play basically. So I don't think that there's too much to get excited about right there. For this one, I'd only call a bear trap, and this is complete fucking hopium. This is not happening anytime soon if it's gonna happen at all. But that would be back above about 150. Until then, man, not great. All right. All right, and I'll just do the last one for you, Star Wars Word, but really, like, no more after this. I'm gonna end on this one as well. My voice is like actually wrecked now. Monthly, you're in a bouncy region, but this is I don't think that you're gonna be reversing here, to be fair. Weekly, same thing as well. Actually held up kind of relatively well compared to a lot of things here. And a really humongous wick right there. I don't know what to make of this, to be honest with you. I would be calling medium-term reversals back up, with the closure back above. No, Jesus Christ, let's just do it for the 4 hour. This one's actually rather clean and clear on the 4 hour. Back above about 1050 or so. Until then, I'm probably looking for this one to make one more drive a little bit lower. But this one's looking a lot more bouncy than some of the other assets that we've seen today. It looks like we are getting a very short-term hourly bounce that we spoke about earlier within the stream. Yeah, hey, there you go. I think bounce very likely brings it up to like 39,600. You might even see 40,500 or so here. But again, all bounces are lower highs below, especially below 43,000 bucks from yesterday. But hey, again, the hopium for today, and I'll leave you on this. Again, understand that it is hopium, would be the daily closing back of about 41,000 bucks. If you see something like that, we might actually have some hopium to be speaking about. Until then, short-term bouncy, yes, but I'm not necessarily looking for lows just yet. I mean, we're also making new lows on daily RSI as well. Alrighty, sirs and sirs, I think that's going to do it for today. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for joining me on this nice little dump dildo Thursday, or no, Friday. It's Friday. Hey, have a happy Friday in your life. I need to go eat some beef liver and eggs and drink a little bit of fruits as well. So I'm going to be signing off now. I want to wish everyone well. Please stay safe if you're not in a position. Understand that not having a position is a position, and sometimes it's the best position, and you can always come back later. You don't need to rush into the first red dildo of the day, because it's likely going to take some time at best, I do think, for any sort of a long-term macro reversal. Until then, short-term bounces perhaps could be in order here, but just be aware of where things are in the greater scheme of things. So hopefully that was helpful. I'll be signing off now. I do want to wait. What is this over here? Hold on. What is this? Oh, what's this? I do want to end